Hello, hello, YouTube channel. And put me in coach, we believe two things, my friend. We believe that your dreams matter. We also believe that it is your life story and you can rewrite it if you want to. Today, I want to share, an inspiring message with you today. I want to share something with you that I think is going to help you. It's going to help add value to you. It's going to give you some information as it pertains to your dreams and, the God-given vision that He has given you. So I want to talk to you about the process toward fulfilling a God-given vision. On this process of how He fulfilled, His God-given vision. So whether you're seeking clarity, on your purpose or looking for guidance on how to bring your dreams to life, this video, my friend, is going to be for you. Now, we know that this is a serious topic, a very serious topic, because I coach a lot of people, I consult with a lot of people, and just engaging, with people. I see that, a lot of people, as it pertains, to their purpose, as it pertains to the vision in which God is giving. They really don't know what to do. Some don't really know how to go about doing it. They believe, that God has spoken to them and gave them something, but they don't really know what that is and how to go about activating it. So we want to talk about that today. We want to talk about, activating, that gift, how to activate, that particular vision, that God has given you so that you can fulfill that vision. So we're going to be looking at a scripture in the Bible today. We're going to look at Matthew's chapter of chapter 10 of Matthew's. So I'm going to read this quickly so that we can get an understanding of what Jesus is doing, what Jesus is saying, so that we can get an understanding of the process, that Jesus illustrated when he fulfilled his God-given vision. So I'm going to read quickly. It says in Matthew chapter 9, beginning at verse 35, it says, Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogue, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out impure spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. And he goes on to name the 12 apostles. In verse 5, he says, These 12 Jesus sent out with following instructions: do not go among the Gentiles or enter any town of the Samaritans. That Jesus followed. We're going to follow Jesus. Yes, we're going to follow the leader. And we know that when it comes down to leadership, that Jesus is the epitome of leadership. We know that Jesus is, in fact, the leader. So we're going to follow a game. We're going to play a game today, a game that many of you are familiar with. We played this game when we were kids, and it's called Follow the Leader. And the way that the game is played, you would choose someone to be the leader. They didn't have any special skills, anything like that. They were just chosen. So what they would do, they would go. So the game was follow the leader. So the leader would go and climb up a tree, and as a follower, you would go and climb up the tree. And if you couldn't do what the leader did, then you would be disqualified. Now we're talking about our dreams here. We're talking about fulfilling a God-given vision. And how do we fulfill this God-given vision? Simple. We follow the leader. We follow, the one who has the blueprint. to fulfilling a God-given vision. We follow the one who we know was successful, in fulfilling the God-given vision. We oftentimes say that success, it leaves clues. And all throughout the scriptures, there are a lot of clues, a lot of, crumbs, breadcrumbs that has been left for us who are hungry, for the word, who are hungry to succeed in life, who are hungry, to fulfill, that God-given purpose in which he have given us. So the first thing that we want to talk about is vision. What is a God-given vision? A God-given vision, is the idea that there's a greater plan or calling, for your life. And this vision, it stems from divine inspiration. Yes, this vision, it doesn't come, from feelings. This vision, it doesn't come from emotions, but this vision, it comes from divine inspiration. It comes from being inspired, by God. It comes from being touched by God. And when it comes to this divine inspiration, it may not be, that type of inspiration where you and feed homeless people. I want you to go and help children. I want you to go work in hospitals. That's not that type of inspiration. And that's not to say that it can't be. However, it's not always, that type of divine inspiration, because the inspiration comes from within. That inspiration, in many cases, it has a lot to do, with your personal passions. It has a lot to do, with your personal drive, your personal, ambitions. It has a lot to do, with the things, that you really care about. So you may not have received a call from God to preach in a church, to be a pastor, a deacon, anything like that. But we're not talking about, that type of vision. We're not limiting God, to that type of vision. Because if you read in Corinthians, chapter 12, God talks about the various different gifts, that he has given unto man. And those particular gifts is not just to serve the church, but those gifts that God has given you has been given you, my friend, to serve all of humanity. So, you pastor in a church, or you working in the church, or you speaking in tongues. And no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about that God-given vision that inspires you, my friend, to make a difference, doing something that makes a difference with people who are making a difference at a time that it makes a difference. It's also important for us to understand, that a God-given vision, that it is not driven by money. It's not driven by fame. It's not driven, by fortune. A God-given vision is not inspired by those things. But a God-given, that needs to be fixed. If God is giving you a vision, that means that God is saying that you are the salt and there's a problem that I need you to connect to. If God is giving you a vision and God is giving you gifts, that means that God is saying that there is a dark situation and I need you to be that light. Yes, and we look around the world, there were many dark situations where people, whom God has given a vision, where they stood up and said, you know what, I'm going to be that light. I'm going to be that beacon of light. I'm going to be that beacon of hope, where there you have people that God has given visions to, that started churches. You have people, that God has given visions to that started youth organizations. People that God has given visions to open up hospitals and medical clinics. People that God has given visions to open up addiction clinics and, open up mental health clinics. Yes, there are people that God has given vision to open up basketball camps and football camps. Yes, there are people that God has given vision to that open up soup kitchens and homeless shelters. Yes, there are people that God has given vision to that have. Yes, people that God has given visions to, people that God has given gifts to and talents to, so that they may fulfill that particular vision. So we're talking about the process, my friend, towards fulfilling a God-given vision. I think about, the vision that God has given me, Invisible Ink. God gave me that vision almost over 20 years ago. And Invisible Ink was about rewriting your story. And God showed me, shared with me a picture of people waiting for a book. Yes, God gave me that vision, and people waiting in line from all walks of life, waiting to get a book that had invisible ink, a book where the pages was blank. And the vision that God has given me in a revelation was the fact that these people believe that it was not too late to rewrite their story. These people believe that, the life that they had lived, was not, the life that God has ordained a call for them to live. These narratives, these were people who believe in rewriting their story. So that's what the vision that God has given me. So the last, 15, 20 years or so, all I've been saying is it's your story and you can rewrite it if you want to. All I've been saying, my friend, is that your dreams matter. I mean, over and over again on different platforms, because that's the vision that God has given me behind the pulpit, preaching repentance, preaching the gospel, letting people know it's not too late to rewrite your story. Motivational platforms, letting people know that it's your story, my friend, and you can manifest itself. The vision, my friend, you have to continue to pursue it. You have to continue to wait for it. You have to continue to prepare for it. You have to continue to put yourself in a position. And that's what Jesus did. Jesus fulfilled the God-given vision, and we're going to look at what he done so that we can follow his example. So the first thing we're going to look at is understanding a God-given vision. To understand your own God-given vision, it can be helpful to vision that God has given you. It's going to be in line. It's going to be aligned. It's going to be aligned with the things that you are passionate about. Yes, it's going to be aligned with the things, the areas that you are strong in. It's going to be aligned with your values. So it's important that you reflect on your passions. What is your passions? Do you have a passion, for helping people? And one thing about help come in many forms. You can help people in different ways. So don't allow nobody to put you in a box and have you to believe that. Remember the story of the Good Samaritan? Yes, the Good Samaritan, he was just walking down the street and there was somebody he could help. So there's always somebody you can help. As long as you put yourself in that environment with people who needs to be helped. So understanding that God-given vision, reflecting on your passions, your values, and reflecting, on your strengths. So I'm gonna ask you, one or two questions. The first is, what are the things that truly matter to you? When he said that his brothers, had came from Jerusalem to visit, the palace, and Nehemiah, was working in the palace, and as he was working in the palace as a cupbearer, he inquired about the conditions of his people because they had, been enslaved, and then, they had been set free, but they still wasn't doing well. So he inquired about the conditions of his people. He wanted to know what was going on, with them. And when he inquired about, their condition, and we know that as it pertains to, a vision and dreams and carrying those things out there, you need protection, you need safety, you need security. So Nehemiah, he had passion. This was something that he was passionate about. He was concerned about the conditions of his people. And as a result of him having passion and being concerned, he figured that it was something that I need to do. It's something that I can do. So when you see a problem, do you have that it can be fixed? Do you see that problem in a way that that you say, what, I think I can do something about this. I think I can do something about it. And that's what Nehemiah did. And that's something, that I look to do, with this channel right here, this YouTube channel, as a platform, as a resource, as a community, being able to add value, being able to be a resource, giving out information to help you become more valuable. Because this is something, my friend, that I am passionate about. It's something that us to understand our own God-given vision and to reflect on some things. What are the things that truly matter to you? Does it matter, that our children get a good education? Does it matter, that, African Americans be treated fairly? It doesn't matter that people who were formerly incarcerated and served their time, that they're able to vote again and able to gain certain rights. Does these things matter? What matters to you? Does it matter that, there are people in your community that are homeless, that don't have Does these things matter to you? Because if these things doesn't matter to you, then there's a slim chance, my friend, that you're going to do anything about it. Because we really don't act on things that doesn't matter to us, things that we're not passionate about, things that we don't have a deep conviction for. So just think about some of the things that you really have a strong conviction for. And keep those things in your mind as we move forward. The next question is, what brings you joy and fulfillment? Hurt and sick and, not being able to eat, those things bring you pain. However, when you be an aid, when you lend your assistance and you become a solution to these problems, it can also bring you joy. It can bring you joy in helping, to fix a problem that you actually helped break. Yes, it can bring you joy. I see it all the time. I see former drug addicts, getting into the field of addiction, whereas though at one time in their life, problems that has plagued our community. So once again, my friend, what brings you joy and fulfillment? Does it bring you joy, to get up in the morning and work with the kids, the youth? Does it bring you joy just to be around them and share some of your stories and share some of your experiences? What brings you joy? Does it bring you joy to write down some things that, you can actually publish so people can be blessed by it? What brings you joy? Does it bring you joy to just be out there and be available us to understand the vision and help us to fulfill that God-given vision. So what brings you fulfillment? Also, it can also be beneficial to spend some time in prayer and meditation, seeking guidance and some clarity as to the direction in which God will have you to go, as to the direction, in which, God wants you to go in. That clarity, that direction, because oftentimes when we get vision, we don't get clarity. Oftentimes when we in many cases, that's the only thing you get. You get the vision. But what's next? Next is we need clarity. We need some things. And Jesus, he's going to break down these things to us. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. And before I want to say one more thing as it pertains to vision. A God-given vision is not money-driven. Listen to me. A God-given vision is not money-driven. So if what you're doing, what you're inspired to do, if it's driven by money, then it's not a God-given vision, and it's not, my friend. God-given vision is inspired by God. It's an inspiration by God. It's that purpose that God has given you. So it's driven by purpose. It's not driven by money. And that's not to say that there may not be any monetary gains from it, but it's not the drive behind it. The drive behind a God-given vision should not be money. So if you're looking to start a ministry, if you're looking to start a non-profit organization, or you're just looking to start a business driven by money, then it's not God. But if it's driven by purpose, with the potential for you to be able to make money, then God, my friend is there. So let's look at Jesus. And